There's been a lot of talk recently about shorter NASCAR Cup races. I actually didn't have plans on making a video about this, but as the topic continues to pick up steam, I might as well give my opinion on it. And in my opinion, I don't think Cup races should be shortened. Now, before I get into my reasons why I feel that way, I do feel like there's 3 events that shouldn't be 500 miles. That's being Texas and especially Atlanta nowadays a plate race. That's it. All the other race distances need to stay the same. Now, when it comes to the people that want shorter cup races, their intentions aren't bad. They care about the future of the sport. We all do. But shorter races isn't going to draw people in. Shorter races is another attempt at trying to draw in casuals, and that's the last thing that NASCAR needs to do, because NASCAR has been doing that since 2004 and it hasn't worked. Chasing the casual fans shouldn't be the #1 goal, because if you start to change things to reel in casuals, you're going to start to lose your hardcore fan base, and that has happened to NASCAR within the past decade. With NASCAR, you either get it or you don't. There's no in between. It's not like you got casuals that's saying, well, if they do X, Y, and Z, then I'll watch. When it comes to the crowd that wants shorter races, they got this belief that shorter races equals a better race. That's not true at all. Hell, Martinsville shortened its spring race to 400 laps recently, and we just saw one of the worst Martinsville races in a good minute. People think because the race is shorter, there's a sense of urgency to try to get to the front quicker because there's not a lot of time. But the thing that these people don't realize is that there's already a sense of urgency. Hailie Deegan gave her opinion on this topic, and she's in the camp of wanting shorter races. And one thing that she talked about is that drivers sit around and don't give it their all until the last stage, and that's false. These drivers are always at 100%. The days of riding around saving your stuff has been over for a while. You have to go back to the mid-2000s of when that was a thing. Denny Hamlin crew chief Chris Gabehart even replied to Hailie Deegan saying that drivers don't ride around in cup races anymore. And I'll take his word for it over Hailie's. Hailie hasn't even been in NASCAR that long. Chris Gabehart has, and has access to a lot of driver data. This goes back to me saying that there's always been a sense of urgency regardless of the distance. Short attention spans is another reason why people want shorter races. I honestly dislike that many young people have short attention spans nowadays. Everyone can't pay attention to something for a long period of time. They want things to be snappy, keep it moving. Just look at popular social media apps like TikTok. It's a problem in my opinion. People feel like that if you shorten races, you'll bring in a younger audience. People then point to F1, which usually has races that last an hour and a half to about 2 hours. But Formula 1 isn't popular because they have short races. Honestly, I don't know why F1 has been on the rise in America as of late. Maybe it's their excellent TV coverage. Maybe they do a better job of promoting their sport. I don't know. But young people aren't tuning in because they have short races. It's a combination of things. They're doing other things right that has led to their increase in popularity. I know that when it comes to their 18 to 49 demographic, it is on the rise, but we can't just say it's because of shorter races. Shorter races with stages is a negative too. You'll barely see any green flag pit stops if they was to do this because of stage cautions. Most pit stops will happen under yellow. I don't know about y'all, but I don't want green flag pit stops to be a rarity in the Cup Series. Just look at the Xfinity and Truck Series. You rarely see green flag pit stops in those 2 series because they have 3 stages, and these races usually range from 150 to 300 miles. For the most part, they can usually make it on fuel for a whole stage. Unless NASCAR was to make the fuel cells much smaller, so they'll for sure have to make pit stops throughout the stages, but I doubt they do that. Now, what I'm about to say may sound ignorant, but if your attention span is that bad to where you can't watch a race that's 3 to 4 hours, not to mention once a week, then you shouldn't be watching the Cup Series. Go watch the Xfinity and Truck Series. The Cup Series races have always been 3 to 4 hours since the very beginning. Be fortunate that there's nowhere near as many 500-mile races that it used to be. Like, a lot of races over the years have gotten their distance cut. Pocono used to be 200 laps, now it's 160. Dover used to be 500 laps, now it's 400. And recently, Martinsville shortened its spring race from 500 to 400 laps, which I don't agree with. It's a lot of things that NASCAR has changed over the years that should have been left alone, and I don't want race distances to be another thing that NASCAR changes. Just leave it alone. One last thing I want to mention is that some races drag on, and it's not because of the distance of the race, but more so the insane amount of caution laps just for stage cautions. They shouldn't be under caution for 10 minutes just for a stage caution. That's ridiculous. And that's just for a stage. NASCAR in general needs to shave off time under caution. If there's a single car spin, the race should be under caution for a long period of time. I think people aren't realizing that stage cautions have ruined a flow to a race. It have made a lot of races drag on since 2017 when they introduced stage cautions. But that's my thoughts on this topic. NASCAR hasn't come out and acknowledged this topic, not publicly at least, so maybe they don't have plans on shortening the Cup races, but you look at what they did with Martinsville race distance and you start to think that they are aware of it and they actually going to start slowly shortening these races over time, but I really hope not. But yeah, that's my opinion on this. What's y'all thoughts on this? Let me know in the comment section. I'll be reading them. I'm gonna go ahead and roll up out of here. Y'all have a good one. Peace.